Hey everyone, it's me, Quan Gamer 4, back in another video, and today, okay, I was a fun story. I was about to post a video about my theory about the FNAF's Tales of the Pizzaplex, like basically doing MatPat's work. Like I was about to say and no, this is no call out or nothing, but MatPat, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to make theories. I'm sorry. But out of the blue, when I was at work, MatPat just posted another video. So, I'm starting to feel like what he's feeling when Scott Cawthon played him. It's like now an endless loop. Scott Cawthon has post like games early for MatPat. Well, MatPat posts his theories early for me. But anyways, without further ado, we're just gonna be reacting to this new theory, game theory, FNAF: The Final Security Breach Mystery Solve. I am interested. So, without further ado, guys, let's not waste any more of your time and let's go. Oh, come on!
At this point, we've solved every lingering mystery from Security Breach. We looked at this thing from top to bottom. Glamrock Freddy, Golden Freddy, the missing Bonnie, the infuriating Patient 46. We connected every detail. We called every child a robot. And that's where I was happy to leave it. FNAF dead and buried once more. Except for that time I talked about the potential real-life ARG, but we're just gonna ignore that ever happened. But now, it's reborn yet again, risen from the ashes. With the drop of a brand new DLC teaser a month ago, and the start of a brand new book series literally this week, FNAF is back. Which means it's time I dive back in and cover the one thing that I was too scared to talk about when I was doing theories earlier this year. It's the one topic that very few have spoken about because it's just so darn confusing. I appreciate that probably doesn't narrow it down a whole bunch because let's face it, most of this game's lore feels that way, but this is on a whole separate level.
What?
Red boys and manga girls, it's time to talk about the Blob.
Oh my god! You had no reason doing that. You had no reason jump scaring us.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's full of so much agony from analyzing FNAF, it could probably bring its own animatronic to life. Maybe then I'd finally get a vacation. Soon, my precious. Soon. So, you heard the cold open. There's a new FNAF book. There's a new FNAF teaser. But before I get to any of that, there's one topic that all of us left lingering from Security Breach.
What?
Everyone's favorite massive animatronic parts and black tentacles, the Blob.
Yep.
Or, as I like to call him, Freddy Spaghetti. On that note, by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but FNAF is in the process of becoming a real pizza place. Not real. Basically, they're doing the same ghost kitchen stuff that Mr. Beast did for his food company, where existing restaurants just make extra food under a different brand. I actually did a food theory explaining it all. Check it out after the video.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. A lot of FNAF is going on recently. And just to add things up, there's actually a FNAF horror attraction coming like near Ohio, where I'm like in Cleveland, where I am at. So, I don't know. I might be thinking of getting some tickets over there and see what I can do. I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to manage to get some footage over there. Depending. I'll see what I can do. So, yeah. That's a topic.
Relevant to the franchise now. Anyway, with a real-life Freddy's comes the need for some real-life food. And if Freddy Spaghetti is not an item on that menu, so help me, I will write a politely worded letter to their social media account and kindly request that they reconsider. Anyway, the Blob was, at the time, the mystery that no one could crack.
Then you've got the Blob as well. The Blob's just on another level of complicated.
True.
Blob, there are so many animatronic bodies there that have no reason to be there. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark. I think I put Henry in the Blob.
The Blob is just a catch-all, all loose ends.
And everything we have understand, it's in that. It's in the Blob.
But you know what? It's been half a year. I'm done just throwing all our unanswered questions into this literal landfill of a character. Today we're getting some definitive answers as to what and who this thing might actually be.
Alright, good, because I genuinely want to know what it is.
Those those answers are going to do two things for us.
What?
One, they'll absolutely help clarify how we talk about this franchise moving forward, and
Okay.
two, they'll certainly have severe implications for the Ruin DLC that's coming out early next year. So in the event that you repress this game, and specifically this character in your memory like I did, here's the quickest of reminders. In Security Breach, if you stay past 6 a.m. and defeat all the other animatronics, you're able to descend down into the basement of the Pizzaplex. It's there that you discover the remains of the FNAF 6 restaurant with a big old hole in the middle. Try to go down that hole on your own, and you're immediately jump scared by the face of Funtime Freddy attached to a big oily tentacle. But hop into Glamrock Freddy and he protects you, saying that his friends are here and that they're angry and confused. Then, during the Afton fight, those same oily tentacles pop in from the vents, trying to capture you or anyone, to be honest. Burn Afton enough times and you get the final cutscene where the blob returns to drag Afton off into the ceiling to keep him in cold storage until the next game. And because this is one of...
Yeah, that is true. I don't believe Afton died from that. No one believes Afton died for that. They burned him so many times to the point that can't we just use any other methods? Really? Is burning all we got? I'm pretty sure we have the budget for something else, like an axe or something.
A handful of animated cutscenes in Security Breach, everyone assumes that this is the true canon ending of the game. So figuring out what this thing is meant to be must be pretty darn important, right? So I guess it's time for me to stop stalling and start theorizing.
Yes.
The best place to start is to understand what exactly this thing's made out of. Because really, it's a who's who of FNAF history. Obviously, we see Funtime Freddy as its main face. As you're descending down through the hole, though, you can definitely make out FNAF 1's Chica. The shape of the head and the torso are a dead giveaway here. Making out is also FNAF 1's Bonnie. Notice the coloring of it and the lack of rosy cheeks. We also have a few random arms and legs popping out. These all match the style of FNAF 1 animatronics. Notice the 3 toes on the feet and the 3 fingers and thumb with no joints on the fingers of the hands.
Well, I didn't notice that, but yeah.
That's all that you can make out from just looking at this thing in the game. But if you extract the in-game model and look at all the other sides, you find that there's a lot more hidden here. Mangle is hanging out directly opposite Freddy's face. And if you look closely, you can also find its rib cage, arm, and 2 of its feet hanging out elsewhere. On one side of the blob is the puppet's mask, except it's missing one major detail. The iconic tears are gone. That is a huge clue that we're going to need to address. And finally, we have Circus Baby's mask, the only one of the animatronics to not have her eyes lit up. Again, that is a huge detail that has to be important to this thing in some way. Baby's arm is also hanging around inside this thing. We know it's definitely Baby's and not Funtime Freddy's because Baby's hands have rounded silver tips on the fingers, just like we see here. Like I said, it is a real mishmash of animatronics. It's almost like Steel Wool wanted a one-stop shop for FNAF's greatest hits. And weird details like Baby's eyes being extinguished and the puppet's missing tears feel like the game trying to tell us something, but what? Well, after identifying each and every arm and leg sticking out of this thing, there was still one animatronic in the spaghetti that really got my Matt Pat tingle going.
What?
This guy right here. Hidden away at the very bottom of the mess is a naked endoskeleton consisting of a single animatronic head, 2 arms, and a missing eye, with a body position that looks like it's desperately trying to pull itself out. His position right at the bottom.
I did not notice that. I'll be honest. I did not notice that. I did know about Baby, Puppet, the FNAF 1 crew, and as well as Mangle, but I didn't see that. Okay.
Also felt like he was intentionally hidden, the kind of thing that you would overlook a few times, but clearly he's meant to be important. He's the only animatronic in this mess that's missing an eye, but his other eye is illuminated, which immediately puts him on the same level as the more iconic characters that we see absorbed into this bizarre amalgamation.
Yes.
So, who is it? What is it? Just a random endoskeleton?
No.
Couldn't be. But to know for sure, I had to look closer. My first instinct was that it must be Golden Freddy. I mean, looking at the roster of characters inside the blob, pretty much every major animatronic is represented in some way. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Puppet, Baby, all of them are here, but Golden Freddy is strangely absent. Plus, with the animatronic only having one eye, I thought that maybe it was discreetly hinting at the fact that while the crying child's spirit was released in the good ending of FNAF 3, another spirit remained trapped in the metal. Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, still here and still angry. It felt very reminiscent of the
that's technically it, but
2 endings of FNAF 3. In case you don't recall, FNAF 3 was the first game in the series to introduce a good and bad ending. Finding all the secret minigames led you to Happiest Day, where the souls of the dead kids are put to rest and we're given a final image of unlit animatronic heads. But if you just finish the game normally, you instead get this, the bad ending. An image of those exact same masks, but each one with one eye lit up. A spirit remains in each body. Well, all of them except for Golden Freddy's mask in the background, which has 2 eyes lit. 2 eyes for 2 spirits. In the intervening years, one has been released. However, despite lots of pieces thematically lining up, there was one glaring issue here. Golden Freddy doesn't have himself an endoskeleton. He's a spring-lock suit. It's why Golden Freddy is always hunched over. He has no skeleton, no frame. So if Golden Freddy's now off the table, who else could it be? Well,
Ennard?
obviously his defining feature is that
No,
one
not
eye.
Ennard. I don't
But
think
it's
so.
not only that one eye is lit, it's that he's physically missing the second eye. So I sat down and went through my mind's encyclopedia of FNAF lore to remember what other characters only have one eye.
Ennard?
Immediately I thought Foxy might make a good contender, except
No.
Foxy isn't actually missing an eye. He just has one covered up by an eye patch.
Oh,
Same
true.
thing for Withered Foxy. Maybe it could be Lefty, the strange black animatronic bear from FNAF 6
But
that was designed as a capture
his
suit for the
eye.
puppet. Nope, the eye that's missing is on the wrong side.
Yeah,
Or
there it
okay,
is.
Maybe it is just a random endoskeleton because why not? It's security breach. But you know what? It's not that either. You see, FNAF 1 endoskeletons are canonically more boxy and streamlined, not this guy. The body of the blob is actually closer to the Endo O2 models that we see used in FNAF 2.
What?
Those have thin spring-like coils around their main skeleton. But even then, what we see in the blob is different. Notice the thick round discs that are directly connected to the skeletal structure. You don't see that in Endo O2s. It's almost like these things' arms are actually its legs. But that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, or does it? Because there is one animatronic that actually has hands connecting to leg joints. One with an Endo O2 head that's missing its right eye.
Mango?
One with wires hanging out the side and with 4 rounded fingers at the end of each hand.
Mango.
It is the Mangle.
There it
Just,
is.
You know, it's Mangle's other head. That weird guy who's just kind of hanging out over there on the body. It is a direct match. Okay, gotta be honest with you. I was excited to identify this mystery animatronic, but also, yeah, disappointed. This weird animatronic that's trying to pull itself out of the bottom of the blob feels like it should mean something special, but
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you, Matt Pat. That kind of underwhelming reveal. I was expecting like Ennard, but then I double tracked, thinking like, well, technically Baby's there, and most likely the other. You know what I mean?
Mangle being the answer
I would have
just
liked to
feels
said
empty.
Ennard.
Like, yeah, we already know Mangle's in this thing. The head is very obvious on the body. So, like so much else inside of this game, it was a mystery that led to a dead end. But hey, now that we have the complete and definitive roster of who's inside this thing, we can actually start to figure out why they're inside this thing. Because these are some weird picks. When last we left everyone, we had Molten Freddy and Scrap Baby. So
True.
why do we now have older versions of these animatronics inside the blob? Also, how do we suddenly have FNAF 1 and 2 era animatronics mixed in when none of these older models were a part of FNAF 6's fire? Can someone please just use anything other than fire to kill these things?
Exactly.
If you don't succeed, try again. But at a certain point, you just gotta like cut it off and be like, you know what? Maybe there's something else. Silver bullet, steak in the heart, garlic, just literally anything. Honestly, this was the
I don't know. Pull an Andy's apple farm and say, "Axe to meet you." That is a horrible joke. I'm a neck myself for that.
main reason I didn't want to cover the blob. It just felt like one big continuity error. But now that I've come to the end of my sanity trying to determine what animatronic a finger belongs to, I think an answer has presented itself to me through the darkness. And you know what? I was wrong. Dead wrong.
What do you
So
mean?
The opening area of Security Breach is Rockstar Row, and it's full of memorabilia from the past pizzerias. You got stuff like OG Foxy's torso and jaw placed inside of display cases. There's also
Yeah.
Bonnie's guitar, Freddy's bow tie, Chica's cupcake, even random stuff like Chica's feet or animatronic leg pieces. But it's not the items that are there that are interesting, it's the ones that are missing. If you look closely
Missing?
at these display cases, the majority of them have at least one missing item with a small description plaque in front of the empty space. Unfortunately, we can't see what exactly is on the plaques, but if torsos and feet are being displayed, then it isn't too hard to imagine that these could have been the heads, masks, arms, items that have
Oh,
been
okay, well,
collected
that's
and
kinda
added
true.
to the blob. In fact, that would explain why it's Circus Baby and Funtime Freddy heads inside of the blob instead of Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy. It's not a continuity error like all of us assumed, it's just a really obscure lore point. Remember that FNAF sister location ended with all the animatronics teamed up to form Ennard, a literal
Yes.
tangle of wires and eyeballs, and that was pretty much it.
And-
But once
indeed.
Ennard was puked up and Baby got voted out of the team, that tangle of wires needed shape and form. This in turn gave rise to Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy, creatures created from literal trash, not official versions of the characters, for as much as they might look like the original characters. As far as Fazbear
True.
Entertainment memorabilia is concerned, the Circus Baby mask and Funtime Freddy head, they're the latest versions of those characters. They're put on display for fans of the series to see. Parts that this tangle of black
Yeah,
can
that makes
steal
sense.
from
That makes
displays
sense, yeah.
and absorb into its own being. Same with the OG suits and Mangle body.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that does make sense. I mean, unless you, I don't know. That does make sense because no one's ever said Molten Freddy or like, and coming to the stage, Molten Freddy, and in the side and into the side stage, Scrap Baby. You know what I mean? They don't say that. So technically speaking, and Circus Baby and Funtime Freddy were technically known in the public because of, Circus Baby Pizza World. So yeah, okay, all right.
That Baby and Molten Freddy, meanwhile, they're unofficial characters. They were never created by Fazbear Entertainment or displayed inside of a pizzeria.
True.
In short, I'm sorry, Steel Wool. I'm not sorry about a lot of the things I've said about some of the lore decisions in this game, but in this individual case, I'm sorry that I assumed that this was just a sloppy continuity error when in actuality, it was a lot more thoughtful than I could have ever expected. We just didn't give you enough benefit of the doubt here. So, like an overeager Funko Pop collector, there's a tangle of black wires lurking in the Pizzaplex hunting for souvenirs from the franchise. And believe it or not, this actually lines up with a random detail from the story New Kid
Oh,
in the
no.
third Fazbear Frights book. As a group of kids are exploring an
And I just got done reading that, too.
This line, quote, while they were in the bathroom, Devin was pretty sure he heard something slithering through the walls. He didn't say anything. From the way the other boys' faces paled, he knew they heard it too. That is the line, and it never pays off. Not in this story, not in this book, not in the entire book series. The whole story actually winds up being a Golden Freddy story, strangely enough, but it leaves Chekhov's tentacle monster just sitting there in the walls waiting to be used. Probably because it was meant to pay off in Security Breach, a game that was originally meant to release closer to that story's publication. But the repeated delays in Security Breach threw all of that synergistic programming off. Alright,
Oh, come on.
Sharon's meant to pay off in Security Breach.
Sorry about that,
was
guys.
Originally meant to release
Sorry about that, guys. Ab happened. I had to restart back to the video, so sorry about that.
closer to that story's publication, but the repeated delays in Security Breach threw all of that synergistic programming off. Alright, so we know why it physically looks the way it does, but really, what are these tentacles? Well, that's where the puppet mask Missing Tears comes in.
Oh,
We're all
boy.
familiar with this thing's story, right? In the aftermath of
And
Tears
jump
failed
scare.
at Freddy's
Here you go.
restaurants, the creator Henry institutes a security program in the form of the puppet. In FNAF
Yes.
6, we literally see this thing called a security puppet. Sadly, Henry's daughter Charlie is killed outside of the confines of the restaurant. The puppet finds her too late and lies down beside her in the rain, and the two become one. And in FNAF 6, the last official time that we see this character, it comes complete with tears in its eyes. In fact, in every iteration of the character, the puppet mask has tears. Or
Yep.
should I say almost every iteration? Look at the security puppet minigame from before Charlie's death. The mask has no tears. It's
Oh,
only
wait,
after
what?
Charlie dies and the thing is possessed that tears suddenly form on the mask. Tears mean that Charlie's soul is inside of this thing. But now, there are no tears left on the mask because Charlie's soul has been released. She's no longer inside Security Puppet. When Henry burned everything at the end of FNAF 6, it worked. Kinda. It freed all the souls that were trapped inside of the metal. This coincides with what we see on the blueprints for Remnant. Overheating might
Okay. So, I mean, well, at least Henry knows that he kind of got the job done, but, there's a problem. William Afton is still alive. That's kind of the whole purpose. We're trying to take down this man down.
However, it didn't work all the way. There's one thing that Henry's fire didn't account for. Something that it didn't purge: agony. You see, Remnant soul metal might be the focus of the game,
agony.
but it isn't the only powerful force that drives this franchise forward. The other is actually found within the pages of the Fazbear Frights books: agony. Now, it's important to distinguish the difference between agony and remnant. I've seen a lot of places using the terms interchangeably, but in Fazbear Frights, they're explained to be distinctly different. Remnant is all about the soul. When an animatronic becomes possessed, that spirit literally becomes attached to the metal. That metal can then be melted down into a substance that Fazbear Frights describes as a boiling liquid mercury, aka remnant. If you inject that metal into other animatronics, it suddenly brings them to life using the power of the original souls. Compare that to agony. In the books, agony is studied by Dr. Phineas Taggart. He states that agony, quote, has a greater energetic radius and power than any other emotion. I've done numerous experiments to measure, capture, contain, and study the leftover emotion embedded into objects that were nowhere near a tragedy. The
Yes.
book even goes so far to explain that the items Phineas has collected weren't possessed by ghosts or spirits, but instead were energized by agony. So when someone
yes.
feels agony, it doesn't just stay with them, it can infect inanimate objects around them and linger there. In other words, while those original animatronics no longer have spirits powering them, the agony they felt while being murdered remains attached to the suits. That's why the Blob's
Yep. And I have just finished reading that Phineas story. God dang.
interested in collecting the suits. It's not collecting spirits, it's collecting agony. By combining them, it becomes more powerful. All the pain and suffering of the children from over the years brought together to create one giant monster.
And I guess if you think about it that way, in a way, that's kind of coincide to Glamrock Freddy's line. My friends are here. They're so angry. Yeah, well, his friends may not be here, but their anger still lingers on. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Why the eyes are glowing red for all the animatronics and endoskeletons. It's also why the puppet and baby aren't glowing. The puppet has been put to rest by her father. She's no longer tormented.
My daughter, if you can hear me, it's time to rest. For you.
Poor Henry, your speech gone to waste.
And baby, well, yeah, she is certainly angry. She is jealous, but she's also eager to please her father even after death.
Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy.
She embraces the monster that she's become. She's not filled with agony. But everyone else? Absolutely. Even in that finale speech, we hear Henry say it.
This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything
that started
this can finally begin to fade away. As the agony of every tragedy should.
Agony! Woo, woo, he did
Woo,
it!
he said
the
it.
word. So, there you have it, friends. Over half a year after the game's release, we finally solved the last mystery of Security Breach. The Blob isn't a giant continuity breaker. It's just a very cleverly composed amalgamation of animatronic parts slithering through the walls looking to accumulate agony. The tortured emotions coming from all the old animatronics on display throughout the Pizzaplex. And now that we've solved it, not convinced that we've seen the last of it. Despite the fact that the Afton ending's only worth 2 stars, when the highest is 3, the DLC poster does seem to indicate that the story's gonna follow this particular ending. Notice the melted parts of Chica's face, the ruined Pizzaplex, which directly follows the building collapse and Afton's ending. But look a little closer. There are mysterious red eyes up in the top left, as well as some suspicious-looking cables down in the bottom right. Even if the Blob did finally kill Afton during the ending, the agony would still remain. It perseveres beyond death, and it isn't able...
Come on. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest to ourselves, Matt Pat. Let's be honest. And to everyone watching, we all know William Afton's going to come back. It's going to happen. It's going to be the William Afton glitch trap basically infects the Blob and it becomes Blob Trap. Let's be honest to ourselves.
Simply let go. In short, the Blob is still very much a threat, something that is more powerful than anything we've ever faced in the franchise. In fact, maybe my previous prediction about the Afton amalgamation could still come to pass. As I called out in a previous theory, in the books, Afton gets mixed up with a bunch of agony, which creates a giant monster trash rabbit. And, isn't that exactly what we're seeing in the ending of Security Breach?
Yes.
Afton mixed in with a bunch of agony parts. I suspect that Afton may be able to take control of this thing, overriding the Blob's directionless rage and focusing it in order to wreak havoc on Gregory and whoever this new character might be, just like he does during the Stitch Wraith stories from Fazbear Frights.
Yes.
The only issue is, I'm not sure how we'd be able to stop it. In Fazbear Frights, the solution is to see into people's memories and trap them inside those memories. It's a pretty random power, so it's hard to say how that might work in the games. Unless, of course, this new character is meant to be someone that could remind Afton or the Blob of good memories, bringing them back to reality and quelling the agony within. But that, my friends, is a theory for another day. So
come on.
Remember, it's all
Yes, you see, it's William Afton. How many times do we have to teach you this, old man?
just a theory. A game theory.
Alright, guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Alright, like the video so I know that you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below. What do you... will we ever see the end of Afton, really? Will we ever see it? And, oh yeah, subscribe. We're trying to upload daily. This is One Gamer 54 signing off.